Norwegian actress Renate Reinsve was recently featured in Elle magazine, and in that feature she stated that, in Norway we have a very short film history. We're starting to establish something now. By tacit implication, with her arrival on the scene. This statement caused controversy back in Norway though, where many feel we actually have a long and proud film history. I mean, give us some credit. Both Chris Nolan's Insomnia and the Liam Neeson starring Cold Pursuit are remakes of older Norwegian movies. And it goes the other way as well, as there are even Norwegian remakes of The Fast and the Furious, as well as a gender-bent Kill Bill remake. Leaving the realm of movies behind, and entering the realm of true crime, or rather true hoaxes, there is even a Norwegian remake of the whole Jussie Smollet incident. You know, the one which was made famous worldwide by Dave Chapelle. And that is what we'll be talking about today, so strap in as we explore the Norwegian Jussie Smollet. Norway, the land of Vikings and midnight sun, and if one were to go by shows like Vikings, one would think it was home to some of the most badass people on the face of the earth, and there are some examples of that. But such outliers aside, modern Norway is, like all other Western nations, a country where multiculturalism and non-Western immigration has drastically changed the population demographics in a historically very short time period, and also like all other Western nations. The national media establishment and cultural institutions have for decades labeled anyone in any way opposed to this development as racist and right-wing. The same media is also on the constant lookout for any kind of racially motivated attacks on the rapidly rising immigrant population committed by the native population. But also, like the rest of the Western world, the media demand for such racism greatly exceeds the real-world supply of it. The news therefore jumped at the opportunity to further the claims of one Hamse Ali, a 25-year-old native of Somalia, who is residing in the city of Bergen, Norway, where he is also a professional football player, or soccer player to Americans. It was after his team won a football match on September 21st of 2024 that he reportedly walked through the Nygårds Park, where he claimed to have been engaged by 6 white, horrible Norwegian men. According to his account, these 6 white Norwegian men began with yelling racial slurs at him and then proceeded to beat him up profusely. It was a traumatic experience for him, and he described how the attackers made him feel like an animal being hunted. And he had injuries to show for it, as he suffered a broken nose, had 4 teeth knocked out, and a concussion. Upon learning of this, the media went into a frenzy, amplifying Ali's story, framing it as a stark reminder of persistent racism in a country often praised for its progressive values. Ali was portrayed as a well-integrated model citizen, and the attack on him stoked an uproar among activists, talking heads, and the rapidly growing immigrant population, many of whom tacitly held all Norwegians accountable until the actual perpetrators were caught. The press coverage was extensive. Aftenposten published an opinion ed exploring how such attacks undermined Norway's multicultural fabric. Bergens Tidenes commentary section featured pieces on the psychological toll on victims, with one columnist arguing that Ali's case highlighted the invisible barriers minorities face in everyday life. The TV channel TV2 aired segments interviewing experts on racism, drawing parallels to historical events like the 2011 Utøya mass shooting. Prominent politicians from the left-wing parties, including the Prime Minister, came out in support. Thousands joined parades and vigils, and the equivalent of $25,000 were raised for Ali in crowdfunding. For a hot minute, he became a symbol of hate crime and of racism in Norway, just like Jussie Smollet did in the US. And on top of that, his story was used as a warning against the rise of the alleged right wing across Europe. However, citizen journalists like Erik Dale pointed out that just like with Jussie Smollet, there were some things in Ali's story that didn't quite add up. Like the park where this alleged hate crime took place is actually filled with surveillance cameras. So where was the footage? Because that should be easy enough to produce. Protests like these were initially dismissed as right-wing conspiracies, though these dismissals would not age well. The police investigated the apparent hate crime extensively, though the investigation was concluded rather quickly, which in the short term also led to protests, and even accusations that the police didn't really want to find these 6 men, because institutional racism and all of that. As it turned out, the problem was that these 6 attackers could not be found, because they were never anything other than figments of Hamse Ali's imagination. Digital traces from Ali's phone, including GPS data and video footage from city cameras, conclusively proved that he had in fact not even been in the park when the alleged hate crime took place. What the data showed, however, was that he had driven an electric scooter nearby, and he had done so while under the influence, as his blood work had indeed shown that he was heavily intoxicated. All the evidence suggested, and so the official investigation concluded, that he had scooted while so drunk that he was whacked out of his mind, crashed because of it, and knocked out 4 teeth in the subsequent face planting. So why lie and make up that he was attacked? There is no official explanation for that, but the speculation is that since he already had lost his front teeth, he'd lose less face in the local Somali community if they thought he was a victim of a hate crime, than if they knew his injuries were ultimately due to his consuming large quantities of alcohol. Others speculated on financial motives, as he'd need extensive dental work, and it's far easier to fundraise for that if you're a victim of racism rather than of scootering while drunk. By November 2024, Ali was charged with providing a false statement to the police. Police prosecutor Per Øyvind Valland confirmed the shift, conclusively stating that his injuries were due to a scooter fall, not violence. This revelation stunned the public, and it was thoroughly embarrassing for the Norwegian mainstream media, as they had not only fallen for an obvious hoax, but made the hoaxer a martyr. Nettavisen would go on to call the entire affair a defeat for anyone who fights against racism. The bigger defeat, though, was on behalf of the entire Norwegian judicial system. Ali was charged with providing a false statement to the police, and just like Jussie Smollet, he maintained that he was not guilty, despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary. The best defense his team could come up with was put a psychology expert on the stand and have this fully grown adult proceed to tell the court that Ali wasn't really lying because he told the truth as he remembered it. But being knocked on the head the way that he was could produce false memories.
You serious?
This is where that overpaid psychologist should have been laughed out of court, but instead, in a shocking twist that caused an instant drop in the public's faith in the entire Norwegian judicial system, the prosecutor, who seemingly wasn't too keen on this case in the first place, essentially said, "False memories? Cool, we'll go with that," and requested an acquittal mid-trial. Seeing as the prosecution no longer wanted to prosecute, that was the end of it, and Ali was free to go. For a while. Large swaths of the public were in uproar because the entire trial was an obvious farce for political reasons. Luckily, and possibly because there was no other option, the state prosecutor appealed the verdict, and as of the making of this video, a new trial is still pending. And there will have to be a new trial, and this time it isn't just Hamse Ali, but the entire Norwegian judicial system which is on trial. Similarities abound between Hamse Ali and Jussie Smollet. Both involved fabricated hate crimes that mobilized anti-racism movements. Ali's alleged assault by white Norwegians paralleled Smollett's MAGA supporters, both leveraging societal fears of racism for sympathy and gain. The differences are mostly cultural, as Smollett's case is tied to US political polarization, while Ali's highlighted Norway's immigration debates, which are getting ever more heated. As there was never any referendum, no Norwegian ever voted yes to mass immigration. That was a political decision forced upon the populace. The big thing the Hamse Ali and Jussie Smollet cases have in common, though, is that both exposed media vulnerabilities to victim narratives, which in turn reveal deep divides between the populace, the mass media, and the political establishment. This particular case is not yet resolved, and we shall keep you up to date as it progresses. Make sure you don't miss any updates by hitting subscribe for real news from the Nordic. And if you liked this video, please smash that like and help share it with anyone else who might find it interesting. For now, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.